Hi everyone. Sorry it's been a while. Had some things going on in my life and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with this channel. So I need to take some time to think. I was thinking about starting a different one under another name, but I decided against that, and I'm just gonna take the projects I wanted to start there and move them over to this one. Just because I don't want to manage two channels at the same time when I don't even have one. So I'm back. And I thought I would do a video on hashtag walk away. Because probably be it's a good little story, I suppose, and it's been trending for a while. So back in the day, I used to be very Marxist. I didn't actually go to college to get my Marxist badge. It just kind of came upon me with the people I was hanging out with, a bunch of hippies and flow people, and that ilk. I just started. I actually really supported Bernie Sanders in the last election. I didn't even, since he wasn't in there, I didn't even vote Trump. I voted Jill Stein of the Green Party. Because I didn't feel choosing the lesser of two evils, I suppose. Even though I would have rather had Trump win, and I now support him more than I did when he initially started, for various reasons. I get that he's a divisive figure, but that's not what we're talking about today. So I was a big supporter of Bernie, and after he lost, everybody on Reddit was pissed. And all of my friends were pissed, because we knew the DNC rigged the election, and since then it has come out that they've rigged the election in favor of Hillary Clinton. So we lost what could have been a very competitive race. I don't think that this last election was very competitive, because Hillary thought she already had it in the bag, but I think that if Bernie Sanders and Trump would have been at it, we would have had a much more competitive race, and we'd probably have people happier with the end decision, just because at least one of the people would have gotten what there wouldn't have been as much of the Hillary issue, and wouldn't have divided the base of the Democrats right from the get. Maybe not in half, but they definitely chopped off a large portion with that. But we all knew that the DNC rigged it, and that the papers were very much in favor. Well, the papers, I say, but the media was very in favor of Hillary Clinton. And she goes, and they keep saying she's gonna win, she's gonna win, she's gonna win, and she loses. Everybody knows this. This is history. But what happened after that, even though all of these people hated the DNC, and they hated the media for just not covering Bernie Sanders in the way that they thought he deserved, they all just switched it off. Like, they just forgot about it, and they were like, oh, Trump is evil, Trump is evil, Trump is evil. And at first I really thought it was interesting. Like, I didn't really like him, and I had kind of fallen into the black hole that is the big media and all of these, little smaller echo chambers that exist on Facebook and in the internet. And they all just didn't care anymore. They just didn't. They were on board with the DNC, and they were on board with the media, and there was Russia, and eventually I just started making fun of them. There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing else I could do, because there was every single day, every couple hours, there was an update on Russia, and it's still happening. It's been 2 years into the presidency, and they only gotten Paul Manafort on not even a collusion charge, but on I think it's 8 different charges. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but it was money laundering, and maybe, I'm not sure if he got charged with the disruption of the jury, or perjury, or whatever else he was getting charged for, but they didn't get him with anything involving the election in Russia. This happened, like, I think 20 years ago, probably in the 90s when I was born. And yeah, that's all we ever heard about it. And then I found Gavin McInnes on Rebel Media at the time, and he made me laugh. And comedy is really, really a powerful, powerful force. It can make people seem more human, because when you're hearing about Nazis, it's a very dehumanizing thing. But Gavin McInnes almost reminded me of, like, my stepdad. And, you know, what, like, how are you going to think, when I know somebody who's like this, how are you going to tell me that they're a Nazi? And I wasn't seeing, there was that thing in Charlottesville with the first Unite the Right. Obviously they had the second one just recently, but there might have been Nazis there, but we haven't seen them since. So I just started listening to him, and at first it was almost like I felt like a teenager again. Like, it almost made me feel a little angsty, because I had been, like, in this group for so long, and still all my friends were left-leaning socialists. Not all of them, but quite a few of the ones that I hung out with frequently. So I felt like I was kind of, like, doing something bad by listening to people talk about these immigration problems and bring up facts about crime statistics in the black community, and talking about things that are typical Republican talking points at this point in time. So it made me feel a little bit edgy, which is, I guess, cool. Not really. Maybe it's just me, but I like doing things that feel like it's going against the grain, because I can't. I don't like groupthink. So I started researching things more, and I started watching more of the people that he was talking with, and I started listening more, and Stefan Molyneux came along, and then there was all the other ones. Sargon of Akkad, who's obviously not right if you follow any of this. He's a classical liberal. Bering, he cracks me up. And then I found the anti-SJW movement, and I had always kind of had a problem with that, and modern feminism. Even when I was a socialist, I had an issue with, because I very hold freedom of speech in a very, very high regard. So when there was all these people like, oh, you can't say black anymore, you can't say black people, you can't call them Mexicans, they're Spanish Americans or whatever, it just got to me. And then, like, all of the blaming white men. If you can't tell, I'm almost fluorescent. So I couldn't do that anymore. I was tired of taking blame for things that my ancestors had done, and not even my ancestors. Like, my family fought with the Union and lived in Pennsylvania for, like, pretty much since the founding. I think some of them were in New Jersey, and then eventually also moved to Pennsylvania. So they were in the North the entire time, and they didn't own slaves. But for some reason, I was being told that I was evil for once being associated with people of the same skin color as me, and it was a very thin facade that I had seen through, and I realized that it was racism. And, like, all of these things just came together, and I took a swing to the right. And at the time, it felt like a huge swing, and I've played with a lot of ideas. I've had a lot of people call me racist, because I'm not, like, I'll play with every idea. I'll play, like, with everything. Like I've said earlier on the channel. And there was some pretty extreme stuff in there for a little bit, but I eventually, with talking it through and using reason and logic, I came down to what eventually is 2 points off of the center. I think I did my political compass test the other day, and I was maybe 2 points libertarian and 1 point Republican. So, like, here, like, I was, like, right there. Like, so I'm not even that far right. And it was still such a huge swing that I lost friends over it. Not to mention, I forgot to mention there was a whole history, a study of history in this. I've always been very loving of history, and recently I've taken it into almost a passion, and I just learned about all these terrible things that the governments have done to their people when they get power like that, and how they just haven't worked. And economies collapse. You look at Venezuela, you look at what is Sweden now, and as compared to what it used to be, and I'll do a video on that later, because this is one of the biggest myths in the modern democratic socialist arguments, is that Sweden and Norway and all of these are socialist countries, when they're actually higher on the freedom and the market freedom index than America is. All of them except Norway, I think, or maybe it was Finland. One of the two. I'll look it up again and I'll do another video on it. But they used to be so much more wealthy at the same time too. Like, Sweden used to be a huge power in all of Europe. It used to be contending with the big three, which is the UK, France, and Germany, and it also fought a war. It was still a big contender with Russia at the time too. So after that, I think in the 1970s, it might have even been earlier than that, they implemented socialism. You see the decline of their economy, and it's almost a collapse. Obviously, I'm kind of getting off topic here, but it was things like that that eventually made me swing and, I guess, #walk away. This was not long before, considering it's only been 2 years, but it feels like for forever since we're on the 24-hour news cycle. It was before the #walk away movement started, but I figured, since I have a similar story, I might as well share it. And I know this is kind of rambly and honestly not very good. I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things, not that there was ever one in the first place. But as I keep going with this, I'm sure I'll be getting better. So thanks for sticking around to get through this rambly mess. I'm going to try to come out and do a couple more videos tonight. So that's about it. I'm just going to sit here and wait for the stars to turn. I'll see you around.